Hi, here with Kosala Hemachandra, founder and CEO of MyEtherWallet. Nice to meet you.
Super nice to meet you as well. Thank you
Yeah,
so much for having me.
thank you for attending. Can you just give kind of a brief overview of what MyEtherWallet's doing right now?
Yeah, so MyEtherWallet, we started in 2015 August, so longest running wallet in the Ethereum ecosystem and the leading Ethereum ecosystem wallet interface as of right now. So we mainly focus on being the nexus point of transacting in Ethereum. So what that means is if you want to accomplish any task in Ethereum, you should be able to accomplish it and using either myetherwallet.com or one of MyEtherWallet's products.
Okay, very cool. And when you say we started in 2015, how many people were on the team back then? I think
It
Ethereum was brand new, right?
was brand new. So I personally started getting into blockchain during my senior year in engineering college. So
Okay.
I got into Bitcoin. I read about it. I'm like, oh, this is a very interesting concept. Like I fell in love with the architecture, like what blockchain is, right? And from that point onwards, I started reading about different articles, news about like what's happening in the space, and then that's when Ethereum Yellow Paper came out. So I was immediately like, oh, I just read about Bitcoin, which is just a value transfer, and then this Ethereum is about like bringing in logic and smart contracts to blockchain space. This is going to be interesting. And then ever since then, I kind of keep following what's happening in the space, which led me to creating my first smart contract during like the testnet launch of Ethereum.
Okay.
And then
What year was that, just to kind of get a
I
gauge
think
of this?
it was like early 2015, the
Okay.
testnet, and then 2015 August or like end of July is when Ethereum mainnet came out. And 2 weeks in, I released myetherwallet.com.
Oh, that early?
Yeah.
Wow.
So mainly because like I was on Reddit. I mean, that was literally the only point of contact to even like Ethereum core members.
That's how I got into
Yeah.
Ethereum.
See.
Yeah.
Nothing else existed. Nobody knew. Maybe
Yeah.
like 100 people were like always on the Reddit, and then, but like even those people, they were having issues with, oh, like I don't know how to unlock my wallet. I don't know how to like send a transaction. Oh, because the only command line existed back then, and then command line is scary for, I would say, if you're not a developer, to anyone else, it's very scary tool to use.
Yeah.
So everyone was having trouble, and I'm like, oh, I know exactly like how to put together a simple UI and then like code everything, because at the same time, none of like the JavaScript libraries existed either to unlock these wallets or do any of the crypto transactions or cryptographical logic. So I kind of had to put together those things as well, and then launch the website.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you saw a UX issue with Ethereum and just immediately launched a product
Yeah.
to start solving that issue.
Yeah, so that's, I think, yeah, that's definitely the way to put it, because I mean, and then it continued from that point onwards. Like I basically saw a bottleneck, and I came up with a solution, and then that's the exact same logic that we continue even to this day.
So how different was it back then? Were there seed phrases, or was it just like a key store file, or?
Yeah.
I guess I'm just even.
It was just, I mean, there was no standards, right?
Okay.
Like, that's also some like multiple. That's why we are having like some of these like issues today about like how to access the wallet, because like only back then only keystore files existed. Actually, back then only the pre-sale wallet type existed, which they gave out. I don't know whether you're familiar with it, but like before Ethereum launched, they did like basically like a crowdsourcing to develop Ethereum. And then that's called pre-sale, and then that's when a lot of people got into Ethereum, and then they invested in Ethereum. So in return, they got ETH back, like ETH tokens.
Okay.
So that was the only wallet type that existed, and eventually it turned out to be not as secure. So Ethereum Foundation came up with a new wallet type, which is called the modern day Keystore version 3. And so I had to go from pre-sale wallet to the new one, and then eventually people are like, oh, that's not secure either, and then hardware wallets came out. So, and then like MyEtherWallet is basically the reason why Ledger, for example, decided to create the link between hardware wallet and a website. And then they did the first PR to MyEtherWallet after they added that functionality to the Ledger wallet.
Because it was something like Ethereum where we're all transacting in these smart contracts, just having a completely, what do you call it, air-gapped hardware wallet that can't do anything. I mean, you're kind of locked out of everything you want to do there, right?
Yeah. So they're like, okay, we have to, and then MyEtherWallet is pretty popular, so they're like, okay, how can we integrate with MyEtherWallet? And then they actually added that functionality to the Ledger hardware wallet, which lets you connect the wallet to a website.
So was this even before MetaMask then, or was this?
Oh yeah, definitely. Like,
wow.
This is, I'm not exactly sure about the date that MetaMask came out, but like, yeah, MyEtherWallet definitely came out before MetaMask.
Okay, very cool. Yeah. So you've seen a lot of stuff like that since you've been in crypto for so long. What's kind of your rose and your thorn with the industry? Or maybe let's just start with the craziest story you've ever seen.
Yeah, so I would say craziest story is, this is when I actually got into like Bitcoin and started reading about it, right? So I bought my first Bitcoin mining machine. At that point, I was renting a room for $550 in San Fernando Valley. People who are not familiar with that area, it's really hot, like extremely hot area, because it's in the middle of the valley. It gets super hot, and I didn't have to pay for electricity, so I just kept this machine running. It was $550, and I was able to make $600 using Bitcoin per month. I'm like, okay, $550 goes to the rent, and then I get $50 in profit.
Yeah.
This is the win-win. But the hard part was coming back home after school to a boiling room. Because like the Bitcoin mining machine was just
putting off heat, right?
Yeah, it's a lot of heat, and then I'm like, oh, I'm dying here.
Yeah.
But I gotta make that $600 a month.
Yeah, I guess you did pay through a sweat instead of money then, right?
Your rent? In a way,
yeah.
So yeah, that's definitely one of the craziest stories that I went or saw or like had to endure during like my crypto journey.
Okay. Yeah. Is that your absolute low point, or what's your high point, low point in the industry as a whole over the last
7 years.
Yeah, it's been a while.
I know it's been a while. I mean, 7 years in crypto is like 50 years or something. It's insane.
You're Methuselah. Yeah.
I would say because like as a developer, I'm like more focused on like the technological side of things. So like I'm always into figuring out, how does that work? How does this work? Or what the new advantage of like this feature, some things like that. So like prices didn't really like matter to me.
So was something like the DAO hack scary to you as a developer, or did you just kind of?
I mean, to be honest, I personally thought that's the end of Ethereum.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
really?
Because like it went down by 50%. I'm like, there's no return.
Stick a fork in it, yeah.
Yeah, and then I was like, okay. I mean, it was a good run.
Yeah.
Everyone had fun while it lasted. And then, but like, so that's why I agree with like the outcome, because I know there was a lot of controversial topics or like the discussions around like, the way that Ethereum Foundation handled the DAO hack.
Yeah, I guess we had the hard fork there.
Hard fork
between
and
Ethereum Classic and
Classic
Ethereum,
exists because of that. But I feel like if that did not happen, we'll be somewhere around by Ethereum Classic right now, because like a lot of early investors, because DAO was huge when it came out. Everyone thought that's gonna like change the world. That's like the next big thing for Ethereum. It turned out to be not true, because now we have all these other features. But like at that point, a lot of like early investors got into DAO, and then if they all lost money because of that DAO hack, then people will be like, okay, I don't want to do anything with Ethereum anymore because I lost all my money that I invested. That's going to happen over and over and over again. So it's like just like bringing down the mentality, right? We were at such an early stage at that point. So it would have been really hard to like bring back up that mentality and like get people onboarded. And to be honest, maybe like I don't know the exact number of users back then, but I think it was like probably less than 100,000.
Wow.
So that kind of situation will never happen again. There won't be a fork to reverse like the transactions again. So that's not something that we have to worry about, because now our user base is huge. Like Ethereum itself like has a huge user base, like a lot of diversified investors, retail investors, users from different countries. So like, and the ETH distribution is very diversified, so that kind of situation will not happen again. But at that point, I was like, okay, we made a mistake, time to fix it and then move on, and that's why I definitely stick with Ethereum.
Well, thanks for sticking with it. I'm glad you stayed around. You were actually my first Ethereum wallet, MyEtherWallet. So
thank you for that.
Very
That's
glad you
amazing
stick to it.
hear.
Yeah. So just kind of generally, I know you guys started as a wallet. Is there anything else MyEtherWallet's doing now? Do you want to just give like kind of an overview of what you guys are working on?
Yeah, so we did definitely start. That's still like MyEtherWallet.com is our bread and butter, but like we are expanding to other avenues as well, such as like we have our own blockchain explorer, which is Ethereum.com, and like our own educational wing, which is Mutopia.com. So whenever, like I mentioned before, whenever I see a bottleneck in the space, or like if I'm trying to look for something and then the article is missing, or like people are having trouble doing certain things, I want to play the role of simplifying that process. That's why, like for MyEtherWallet.com, when like POS, like the proof of staking, like the staking functionality came to Ethereum, we were like, okay, even if like you have 32 ETH, majority of the people will not know how to run a node 24/7, monitor the node, deposit, create these two different kinds of key stores. Like it's a very complicated process, and I'm like, okay, that's where we come in. We have to simplify this process. That's why we partnered with, for example, like stake.us to run the node functionality, but like it's all happening in the background. So only thing that user know is that, oh, I'm depositing 32 ETH, and then I'm earning yield on it every day until like the withdrawals are enabled, and they can withdraw the funds back. And then we are like, okay, now we are introducing a new problem where not everyone has 32 ETH. 32 ETH is a lot of money.
Oh yeah, I guess when you started, it was 32 ETH. If it was trading at $100 in 2018, 2019, it's not that big of a hurdle. But I mean,
not anymore.
Early or recently, 6 months ago, that was over 100 grand.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No. We're like, okay, it's time to bring in like some of the liquid staking functionality. So
that's kind of liquid staking is when you have like the tokenized, it represents staked ETH, right? So you can still do stuff with it. You're not completely like locking yourself up for. I guess it's been 18 months now. If we go from
the first time it
from
came out?
December 2020 to now, or mid 2022. Yeah, it's been over 18 months that I've had my ETH locked up. So.
And you still don't know when you can withdraw it.
Yeah.
So not everyone can do that either. So like we're like, okay, let's bring in some of the liquid staking functionality, and then we partnered with Lido and Stakewise, and then so we provide that functionality. Even if you have 0.001 ETH, you can stake it and then earn good enough yield on that.
Seems like you guys are like everything you do, you're kind of focused on making the UX better for the end user. You know, someone's coming in with 2 ETH saying, "How do I stake?" and you guys solve that problem. Or people come in and say, "What the heck's a key store file?" and you say, "You don't need it. You can use these 6 words or 12 words, 24 words instead." Yeah.
Exactly. So I think that's definitely the main role or main focus of MyEtherWallet ecosystem in general. How to solve the user experience problem. So whenever we see like a user having any issue, right, we're like, okay, is there anything that we can do to mitigate this or solve it or make it simple for the user? So
notice you guys are really good at explaining stuff also. Like I spent a lot of time on your subreddit back in the day, and I was always pleasantly surprised at how, I don't know if the moderators actually worked for MyEtherWallet, but they would take the time to actually explain concepts to new users, because I mean, just kind of the nature of your product, a lot of new users come in. It's their first time actually using the blockchain instead of just buying on a centralized exchange.
Exactly.
So you come in and say what can and cannot happen. Very good at explaining risk to people.
Thank you. Yeah, they definitely, like, I think most of the moderators actually work with us.
Okay.
So, and then they know, it's like, I feel like we want to make sure, like, we don't want to scare off like the newcomers. We are like, MyEtherWallet is like the gateway to Ethereum ecosystem. So it's like one of the places they'll first end up being. And then if we just like blast them with this complicated technical information, they'll be like, okay, I'm never gonna learn this.
Yeah.
So
I guess it's kind of a fine line you have to walk there between abstracting away important stuff they need to know and versus like giving them all the information they need to know without flooding them with how the nuances of cryptographic algorithms work and
exactly. And it's definitely, we have to balance that out. It's hard. And I'm not saying we succeeded either. It's like an ongoing process. So like every day we are trying to improve on something.
So is that kind of what sets MyEtherWallet apart from other wallets now? I mean, you guys have been around the longest, but it seems like you're kind of focused on really UX, right?
Definitely. I definitely have to say like that's one of our main advantage over other wallets in the space. And also we are not we're not just using one wallet entry, or like meaning like if you can use any access in any wallet that you have. Like it could be a hardware wallet, it could be your phone, it could be just a key store file. We let you access your wallet from any means, and however you have your wallet, we allow that.
Okay.
So, like that also sets us apart.
Cool. Very cool. Yeah. You want to move on to crypto in general? I mean, what impact do you see with Ethereum moving fully to proof of stake? We've had Beacon Chain live for 18 months now, or it's a little more than that since we're almost in July.
I guess so, Time goes by so fast.
Yeah, do you see a transition in this space with Ethereum moving to proof of stake or moving away from proof of work? What do you see happening there?
I mean, I feel like this is, if someone's saying, oh, I'm surprised that Ethereum is doing it, that's not, they cannot be surprised because this has been on the roadmap since literally the mainnet launch.
I mean, I still see naysayers saying it's not going to happen.
Yesterday someone asked me that and they're like, is it going to happen? I'm like, it's definitely happening. We already did the Robston. We are already like in the merge. It's definitely going to proof of stake and it's on the way. And then we have this one last hard fork happening next week that increases the
delaying the difficulty bomb, right?
The difficulty bomb by like I think 4 months, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So it's not a year now. Like, you know, before it used to be 2 years, and then they kept delaying it by like a year and a year. Now they are confident that it'll happen in like the next 4 months. So Q4 is my estimate.
Okay.
I think we'll completely switch to proof of stake, and that's it. I mean, I don't know what like the miners will do. I'm pretty sure they'll like switch to another like proof of work chain or something.
Maybe Ethereum Classic.
Maybe Ethereum Classic. That's the purpose. Maybe that's why it happened. You know? But then again, using their logic, they should move to proof of stake too, because that was an initial Ethereum roadmap as well. So I don't know what's gonna happen. Anyway, I'm happy for Ethereum and where it's headed, because like we are gonna reduce the energy consumption by like 99%. Like because we don't have to do proof of work.
I mean, of all the criticisms against blockchain, I think that one's actually pretty valid when they say you guys are wasting electricity.
For sure. It's like it's a valid point.
Yeah, I mean it is, and especially when we have something like proof of stake that we can just move to, and it's just as secure, maybe more secure. Uses 1/1000th the electricity. I'm very excited for it.
Yeah, same here. Like before you had to wait, I think like around 16 blocks or 16 or 15 blocks to make sure like that transaction is valid. Now it's like 2 blocks or something. Immediately you can be like, okay, this transaction is finalized. It's not going to go anywhere. Like things like that. It's just like huge advantage over proof of work. And it can be more diversified, like especially with liquid staking and like all the number of validators, and again like amount of ETH locked in, right? Like it's insane amount. We are going to be the biggest proof of stake chain, and I think we're going to be the only decentralized proof of stake chain, because all the other ones are pretty centralized.
They're DPoS, right? Delegated proof of stake.
Exactly. So some people might not like saying that because they're like, no, we've been doing proof of stake for a while. Like our proof of stake is the best. But I think like Ethereum took so long because in order to make sure that this is how it should be, this is the decentralized.
Even that nuance is hard to explain to newcomers into the industry. People who have been around for months, really. It's not people who've been around for several years, they usually understand. But if they've been, I mean, around the crypto forums for the last 6 months, I often see them come in to maybe our Ethereum, the Ethereum subreddit, and say, why don't you do what this chain is doing and just allow anybody to stake with any amount in their wallet by just one click. And I mean, the response is clear to us, but it's a long response.
It is a super long response because like it's all like math at the end, right?
Yeah.
Like that's why I don't understand some of it, or not like most of it. It's like that's why we need this.
Yeah, I guess I shouldn't say this response is clear to me. I know the answer. I can't describe actually all the nuances of why.
Yeah, like it's really hard to put it into like simple terms, right? Like when you're reading it, you're like, oh, that makes sense, that makes sense, that makes sense. But like then you're like, oh no, my brain is just like going everywhere.
The way I try to say it to people is that you got the blockchain trilemma. You know, you have throughput, scalability, and then decentralization, right? And if you go DPoS, you're really sacrificing on the decentralization aspect there.
Yeah.
And I love how this ecosystem we have refuses to compromise that value.
That's like one thing that I really hate, because literally there are blockchains owned by a company. And I'm like, how do you call this? Like, okay, just use a database at this point. You know, you don't have to use a blockchain. Who are you trying to trick?
Yeah. So I've heard of, without pointing any fingers, I've heard of actually some rules of the blockchain being rewritten to protect the financial interests of some people in the blockchain. You know, which is just coming from someone who is kind of a decentralization maxi.
Same here.
Makes me want to pull my hair out.
Maybe that's
that's actually the story. You know it first.
Pulling someone here. Yeah, exactly. No, I'm totally with you on that. It's just like we don't have to sacrifice the core principles of blockchain. Like if you can figure out something, just wait. You can always, because like that's the beauty of blockchain, right? Like everything is open source. So just wait for someone to figure out the proper way, and then if you like that, you can use it as it is. If not, you can change it a little bit, and then just like stick with the core principles of blockchain, and we can all move forward together.
Cool. So you've seen, I guess if you've been in since 2014, you've seen almost every crypto cycle.
Oh yeah.
What do you see is gonna? I'm not gonna ask you how long the bear market's gonna last. What do you think it will do to crypto as a whole? Maybe Ethereum, especially. I guess we're launching probably the biggest change ever, proof of stake during this time.
If anything, it just reduced the stress in the developers.
Okay.
Like, okay, the price went down. Like I can actually focus on developing now. Rather than if like I have to deploy a contract that's going to cost $6,000 in transaction fees. You know, things like that. I mean, do we go through this all day, every day? Because like we have to, like when we do tests, we have to actually we do all the tests in like test nets as well. But like at the same time, we have to make sure everything goes well on like the mainnet. So in order to do tests, sometimes we spend like up to $1,000 or $2,000 a day.
Oh, just on mainnet tests?
Mainnet tests to make sure like everything's good, like everything's working, the swaps are working, and it's very costly, and it's good that we still have to do it for our user base, but it reduces our stress a little bit too when like the price is down. I'm not saying price down is
noise.
good. Less noise. People aren't like, oh my gosh, like I'm buying a Lamborghini. Like those stories just disappear, and then everyone's more focused on what's happening next? What's happening next? Like what else can we do? To answer your question, I've seen these cycles so many times, and then every single time when like the price goes down, someone will come to me and be like, oh my gosh, crypto's crashing, is this the end? Should I still should I just sell everything? I'm like, it's totally up to you. I'm not going to tell you like what to do with your funds, but like it's also happening in stock market. Like right now, especially right now, it's like everything is going down. So why aren't you going to the stock market? People will be like, oh my gosh, stock market is crashing. Why aren't you doing anything?
Falling.
Is this the end for the stock market? No one's doing that, but like when it comes to crypto, everyone's like just get panic. So I think that's where the panic sell actually came. So everyone's like, oh, sell.
Yeah. Cool. I guess since you've been in I guess you were in pre-metaverse, pre-NFTs, right? How do you see this as someone who's been in here so long? This whole, I guess we're here in ETH NFT right now, Ethereum New York NFT. Yeah,
So I would say, I mean, NFTs itself is a really good concept, right? When it came out in 2018, I think like CryptoKitties team did a really good job. Like they launched CryptoKitties as NFTs. It brought up this like pretty cool idea of like creating non-fungible tokens out of anything. I mean, they chose, okay, like CryptoKitties is one of the NFTs, right? I think like people ran with it. They're like, oh, I'm going to create NFTs of JPEGs. And I mean, that's what we see. Most of the NFTs are just like JPEGs and there's no utility behind it.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, I just have to create 10,000 of different faces and then sell these, right? And then my first question is, okay, like, is there anything behind it? How are you bringing in value to these JPEGs, right?
Yeah.
It's like, it doesn't make any sense to me in my head. And then, like some people just create like swords and then you have to buy the sword to play a game that might come out eventually.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, so it's like, okay, like when is this game actually coming out? Can we use it? So about Metaverse, and I feel like Metaverse is kind of been there already in like the centralized world. Like I think Steam, for those who play games, it's like it's kind of the Metaverse.
I guess what I'd be excited is actually being able to sell some of my hats on my Steam games. You know.
Yeah, and then you can wear it. Your character.
Yeah,
that will be cool.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
And kind of what you said before about like I don't know if you mentioned it, tokenizing real world assets, but that I think that'd be awesome. You know, if the deed of my house was an NFT instead of this paper that I don't think I've ever actually seen. I think it's probably in a file somewhere.
It's somewhere, hopefully, right? It's like, I think that's where it should be going. Like instead of just trying to do the same thing again and again, and then sometimes I definitely see fake volume over JPEGs and like, someone's just like waiting to basically like fishing for like some newcomer to pay a huge amount to buy this random NFT that doesn't have a value.
Yeah.
By creating fake volume. So that's happening. So instead of trying to do that, I think like as a community, we should focus on, okay, what's the next step for NFTs?
Yeah, maybe this bear market will kind of find the value of NFTs in the metaverse or bring that out, you know, and what's left we'll see clearly has value, you know?
Yeah, I mean, definitely like one of these, like, that's what these cycles do too, like up and down markets, it's filter out the projects that's not going to sustain. So it's just like, okay, this project, no one's going to buy this. So like this project doesn't have any value. You filter out, and then when the next rise comes up, for the next rise, we'll go with the projects that actually survive that cycle.
Yeah. Well, I guess Mew has been around for 3 or 4 of them by now. So
I feel,
It's a testament to your value there.
Thank you for that. But so we try to, like, money management wise, and because like it's also when the price goes up, everyone's like, oh my gosh, like it's never gonna crash. Like immediately people forget about like, oh, there could be a time again that when the price goes down. We try to think the other way. We're like, when the price is up, we're like, okay, we have to prepare ourselves when the price is low.
I guess I kind of see like a lot of veteran players in this industry do this. Like Ethereum Foundation is almost notorious for selling the top, you know? They see it coming. They know that it's not always going to be this high.
Yeah.
And they also know that a dollar goes a lot farther in a bear market, you know?
Yeah. And then because like for us, especially since we're a US-based company, we do provide up to, I think, 10% in crypto if the employee wants it. If not, we have to pay everyone in USD. So we convert them to like stable assets whenever we get a chance, or during like when the price is up, and then keep those stable assets or stable coins separate from everything else, so that, okay, we will take advantage when the crypto goes up, but at the same time when the crypto is down, we're not in a panic mode. You know?
So we're coming up on the hour here. Anything you want to say before we cut out here? What should we be looking out for in the MyEtherWallet, I guess, ecosystem at this point?
Yeah, so MyEtherWallet is definitely looking into expanding. And then, meaning, yes, we will continue to expand in Ethereum, but at the same time, we are looking into other blockchains as well.
Okay.
Especially since we are getting requests from other blockchains. Hey, when are you going to build name the blockchain wallet.com for us? And then we're like, okay, yeah, we can look into that. We can talk about it.
Let's wait for the end of the bear market, see if you're still around.
Yeah. That's a good way that's a good way to filter out those people. So yeah, we are looking into that, and we are trying to expand to other blockchains as well. So bring our expertise, bring out like what we learned from Ethereum, and see like whether we can help out like the other communities in a way. But that said, we're not leaving Ethereum.
Awesome.
We are
Glad
always
to hear
Ethereum focused, and MyEtherWallet.com, MeWallet.com, ETM, everything will continue to improve Ethereum and then keep improving the user experience.
Cool. Well, thank you very much, Kosala.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as
Yeah.
well.